So CORO basically looks at actually inclusive in a much wider, aspect as well. It's gender is of course underlying all our work, but essentially CORO's focus or main vision is to look at a world where there is no discrimination, there is no marginalization of any group of people on the basis of caste, class, because in India, caste also is a fairly important thing. Caste, class, religion, even age, sexual preferences, gender, all of that. And we find that, there are different axes of discrimination or marginalization. And for all of them, gender always adds that additional layer. So a lower caste man would face slightly lesser, hardships than a lower class woman, because she has to deal with the aspects of being a lower class person as well as of being a woman. So whatever work we do, our work is essentially to make sure that we are working towards a world which is very inclusive, very accepting of people, and allowing spaces where people who are marginalized otherwise have a chance to, speak out, speak up. And we do this by actually, facilitating leadership from such communities. So when we work with women, we make sure that whatever work we are doing with women is essentially putting them in the center of whatever we are doing. We believe everybody has, the ability to make a change. So we facilitate leadership from within women. We call it unlocking the power within, right? And then have them take on whatever issues, whatever problems they face. We equip them with some tools, some, confidence, and we do a lot of hand holding, mentoring, so that women and, others from marginalized communities are able to tackle the problems they face. We feel that this is a much more sustainable model, because if I am going from outside and deciding what needs to be done for women to make them empowered, I'm not really being fair to the women involved, right? I mean, I'm imposing my own thoughts on it. The agency has to be with women. They need to see what is it that they want to change, and then we can just help them make that change. So that's broadly the work CORO does. My work is largely office bound, in the sense of I am, the person who looks after, because my background is actually business. I stumbled into the social sector just by accident, and I've really enjoyed it. So I joined CORO because I wanted to learn to work with people, with communities. I know about managing an organization. It's the other part where I am actually closely involved with, women, and because most of our leaders that we work with, even within from different communities, women are about 70-75% of them, because we feel that I think, and it's a known fact worldwide, that women are the ones who will actually make a difference for society. Men tend to be thinking of themselves, probably drink it up or a little bit like that. But that's the reason we find and we feel that women are the ones who should be at the forefront. If I'm talking too much, just tell me to shut up.
No, it's fascinating.
Because
No,
I am so excited by this whole, the work that we're doing. I come from a background where I've been very fortunate, very privileged in terms of even being a woman, because I'm an only child. I come from a family with extremely strong women, in the sense all my aunts, which were like in that generation, they used to all, they were professionals, they had studied, they worked. My mom used to work. And I think that made me, feel that there was nothing I could do. My dad never stopped me.
that's
But
wonderful.
when I started meeting people, I've been fortunate. And I think I became more acutely conscious of my privileges when I, started meeting people and seeing the kind of difficulties they've had to deal with.
Yeah.
So every day is a learning day for me. So I came into this sector because it was another organization, but that was also working with young girls and boys for, who had dropped out of school, for livelihood training, so vocational training. And there again, it was a young girl who, when I was doing the first, I was supposed to create a course and share it with, do a pilot batch. And when I got the group assembled, I asked them, what do you expect out of this and what would you like to be the end result of this? And this girl stood up and said, ma'am, if at the end of it, she said Tai, which is a Gujarati word, a Marathi word for, elder sister. She said, if at the end of this, I can stand in front of people and talk like you are doing just now, I'll be very happy. And there were 10 people in front of me, nothing more. So I said, okay, that's a very, it's a very realistic, but it also gives you an idea of, what the thoughts are. So eventually that girl stood in front of 150 people and delivered a fluent Marathi, sort of speech, which made me feel that maybe, this is something more than what I'm doing right now. I mean, in terms of what have I done individually, I've brought up two young girls, and I like to believe that they have gone out into the world with a very different mindset as women and as human beings. But other than that, this was an opportunity to maybe reach out to more people and learn from them, and also help them along the way where I could, because I come from, I've been very fortunate.
Mhm.
And then about 4 years back, I consciously decided that I wanted to move into communities and go into some parts of rural area, and where we are working, and which is when I moved. Somebody introduced me to CORO, and our founder Sujata, Dr. Sujata Khandekar. When I spoke to her, every word she spoke resonated so deeply with me, because people should be given the option of choosing what they believe is important, how they want to take up issues, rather than some outsider coming and saying these are the issues that you are facing and this is how you need to deal with them. So that's how I got into Koro. And actually, when I started, um, when I was speaking to Koro, I was also looking at other opportunities, and I was speaking to another organization. And as part of my involvement with Koro, we said, let's actually talk to each of the people, because the other worry was, will they accept me? Because a large part of Koro's core group comes from, not just core group, the entire team comes from the communities that we work with. And I was on the other end of the spectrum, right? So I said, will they accept me, or will they say, my God, what is this woman here? So Sujata suggested I speak to each of them. And I spoke to each of them, and I ended up having an hour and a half long conversations. And every conversation was incredible. And then I was talking to my daughters, and I said, should I join? I was trying to say that I'm looking at these two organizations. And my daughters tell me, Mom, you're fooling yourself. Every time you get off the phone with somebody from Coro, you have such a glow on your face and you seem so, motivated. So I said, yes. I mean, that's what made the decision for me, I guess. In an ongoing basis, Joe, I meet so many women who, like I said, we work with women who have gone through a lot, right? We have a single women program where women who have been abandoned or who are widows, we work with them, and the journey for them is so much harder. Single women is an example. We have
Yeah.
different,
Mhm.
even women who have, we work with tribal women,
Mhm.
the nomadic tribes and denotified tribes, which were, at one point branded as, sort of labeled as the tribe which are thieves and all of that. And I think when you hear their stories, you realize that they have done so much more. I mean, I started with a very big advantage, and I've achieved some things, but compared to the journey they've made, my journey is nothing. And yet they are so positive. They are just so, there is just so much in them to give, for themselves. So, for instance, there is a lady we work with who was a victim of domestic violence, and she took it all for a very long time. And then finally, when she got her daughter married, the daughter started facing similar situation, and that's when she said, look, I did it all my life, I'm not going to let my daughter do this, right? So she got her daughter back, and then she has become one of our strongest community workers, because she says, I don't want anyone to go through what I have gone and what my daughter have went through. And so a lot of the women are driven by, I don't want other women to go through what we have gone through. And
Mhm.
that is such generosity of spirit. isn't it? I mean, you would say,
Absolutely.
I've been through this and I've had such a hard life and I've managed to make my way out of this. Why can't other people do the same? On the other hand, you're saying, no, I want to be there for women who are facing this. And just, I mean, those are the, instances. And I can give you so many of them that this we can keep talking till tomorrow morning.
Wow.
But that is what keeps me going, saying women who have made such a difficult journey feel that they should do. I am only doing a very little bit, Joe. I'm just kind of sitting in my nice little office, going out raising funds, and then going into the community sometimes, and then going back to my nice house. But it makes me want to do so much more. It is arranged because the first thing is to, like I told you, is, making them aware of themselves. So we have what we call the leadership building program. And the first one is understanding self and understanding context. And within that, we say, okay, I mean, I've had situation where we say, okay, what are your favorite flowers? What are your favorite colors? What are your favorite foods? And women are stumped because they've never really thought of themselves. They're always thinking of the family, they're all of that. So when we've asked questions like that, it has, just getting them to think about themselves. I think that's the starting point. So there is a lot of listening, obviously. More important, it's creating a space where people can share and listen to each other. Um, Skills, as in terms of skills to navigate difficult situations, skills to navigate situations, with a community. How can you become the leader within your community? If you have to do something with the government, how do you access government schemes? How do you work with different things? So these are all elements which are part of our work. um, and then we have a special, not a special, but a separate program which is on gender-based violence, especially domestic violence.
Mhm.
And that is a very sort of two ways of working with it. One is where we have a place for women to get immediate support and relief. So there's a center where they can come for counseling, and we typically counsel both the entire family, husband and wife both. It's not just the women, because otherwise you're putting all the burden on the woman herself again, right? Saying we'll counsel you how to deal with the situation, but the situation may very well be something where the rest of the family needs to change as well. So we have the gender-based violence program where we do this, where they require legal support, legal intervention. We will guide them for that as well. But along with that, what we've done is within the community, we have created our what we call community case registration centers. Because often women are not able to come to the center or they're hesitant to do that. Within the community, everybody knows what's going on, and they're more likely to go there and spend some time, just have a little bit of venting. And the groups actually work to also proactively change some of the gender norms. So there's a lot of things we do. There's not just one simple thing.
Absolutely.
I think
Mhm.
the core of it is that we try and make sure the woman is the center of it, and we sort of ignite or whatever, like let her find the power within herself, and then that takes it to a different trajectory altogether. Each of them doing their own thing.